Yeah. All right, let's get this started. Man. It's your boy MM2K back again with another one. Quick Dose Live. You know what I'm saying? Saturday morning, which is typically unusual, but there's not a lot to do at my house this morning. My wife is actually calm on a weekend. Just to give y'all a peer into my world, normally Saturday morning she wake up 5 a.m. and she got a plethora of stuff that she feels like we need to do. She's in a calm Zeta state of mind today. I'm taking advantage of it until she feels like there's some mountainside that we need to draw sculptures on, or some type of coal out of some type of goddamn mine we need to dig up. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take advantage of it, right? Jeez Louise, man. I have never seen, I know this is like irrelevant to everything, but I've never seen a worser program on anything than Twitch's phone app. It's disgustingly horrible. And I got a lot of stuff that I gotta say negative about YouTube, and the fact that it doesn't integrate well with its own goddamn web browser. But Twitch, I have an Amazon Fire. I got the latest one. All the bells and whistles. This thing, Mixer, I somehow got the Mixer APK on this thing. Mixer's APK app works 20 times better than Twitch's app. Utterly disgusting. All right. With that being said, now that I've gone through my morning insults, let me shout out to all of y'all in the chat. All of the stuff. Bossy one, what's good? Heath Stevens. He said, dude, there was a Walmart Black Friday sale. I know, bro. That's going to kill it, man. They got to drop that Xbox One. They got to drop that Xbox One X. They got to give up on the S. Give up on the S. You know, drop it $50. But they got to drop that Xbox One X to like $299. They got to. You know, now show her dough time. Is this where memes get made? Can y'all hear me good? Let me know if y'all can hear me good. Otherwise, I'm just gonna get right into it. All right. So here's what happened today. I'm gonna give y'all a pair into what's going on with MM2K right now. I don't want y'all to take my recent very explosive rants on Twitter to be aimed at you guys. And I mean you guys that are like in my chat right now that support the channel. I always will engage with you guys. I love you guys. I'm talking about these mofos, these lonely virgins in their grandma's basement that ain't got nothing but Mountain Dew, maybe Call of Duty, and an endless supply of Vaseline at their disposal. I'm talking about them who have nothing better to do with themselves but to hate on games. Now there's difference between shit talking, you know what I'm saying? We do it at Triple B. That's what we all about. We shit talk on each other. We shit talk on any and every, you know, anybody can get it, like we say. We got the best damn podcast. That's shit talking. That's shit talking Valley. Very fun stuff, very entertaining, and that part I'm not talking about. I'm talking about those whose mind, soul, and being isn't to fire up a console or PC or handheld, whatever, and play games. But their gaming experience solely is to hate. Now that's the problem. Now those that y'all support me, look, I don't pick a flag. I announced what my preferred console was coming into this gen. I'm feeling some type of way about that now. I give kudos to PlayStation, even though I'm not the biggest fan of their first party games. You know, I love PC gaming, but I realize there's plug and play issues there. So I don't have a flag. And I speak my truth all the time. I don't cater it to no audience. The audience will come that may agree or disagree, but can at least appreciate what I have to say. So, what reason why I'm saying that is those elements, the Young Ye crowds and the Dreamcast guy crowds, they're already cut off, or they're filtered out from this MM2K experience because they don't like coming here because I don't hold a flag, and I'm not an outrage junkie. I'm trying to inform people. Sometimes I might get excited about it, but my channel, my platform is not all about hate. Okay, I'm trying to get folks out of the basement. I'm trying to get them to wash the Vaseline out of their hands. Maybe to find some vagina or some penis, whatever you into. Get out of the basement. Okay? So with that being said, I'm here to inform. I'm not here to convince people to like what I like. I'm here to inform. That's all I'm about. And when I hear misinformation, I alluded to this yesterday, when I hear misinformation, and we know it's misinformation. There's been times to where I may have had some information, I thought it was correct. I was wrong about it, and I cleared it up. But what I hate is the spreading. That's what let me clarify that. I hate the spreading a purpose spreading of misinformation. When people know something is wrong, but because emotionally or cultural, whatever it is, they have an agenda and they perpetrate that misinformation to serve that agenda. Why does that bother me so much? Because I feel like I'm a consumer advocate. I'm even an advocate for people that don't like the stuff that I like. I like people being informed. I told you guys stories about how I used to walk in Best Buy and used to see people being told the most ridiculous shit, and I would have to intervene. That's just my nature. I do it in stores right now. You go to a GameStop and you hear the clerks that work there that their job is to sell you video games, and they tell you the dumbest shit. I'm the guy that's gonna butt in that conversation, to the dismay or not. And that consumer will say thank you, and they'll look at me and give me the side eye. You know what I'm saying? But I don't care. I hate the spreading of the knowing spreading of misinformation to serve an agenda. All right. So with that being said, because I'm gonna throw my brother under the bus. Because my bro got an agenda. But I love him though. What am I talking about? I want to show y'all a tweet. Okay, so my bro Nethals, he's a troll. He is a troll of trolls. He knows how, and he's the receipt bringer. Don't say nothing around Nethals. And don't think that he's going to forget about it. He has the memory of a freaking elephant. He slapped your boy earlier this week with one of my own receipts, man. It was a horrible feeling. He knocked the Metamucil clear out my goddamn mouth that morning, right? With that being said, my bro Nethals feels some type of way about Bethesda's latest offering, Fallout 76, and the whole Fallout experience. Now, some of what he says, I can get down with. But a lot of what he's saying, I think is short-sighted of all Fallout gamers, and I'm going to explain why. And it's not just him. I'm using him as a catalyst because he has the most recent takes on this, right? That solidifies a lot of the misunderstanding and a lot of the siloed thinking when it comes to Fallout and what's going on with Fallout post 76, right? He says, I played 30 minutes of the Outer Worlds. Let me increase this if y'all can't see this, because y'all might not be able to see this. Ooh, what was I increased the wrong thing? Okay, let's do this. Gotta click here, MM2K. He says, I played 30 minutes of the Outer Worlds. I can say this is the Fallout-like experience a lot of you have been wanting. I still need to play more, but knowing this isn't a big open world is probably more like a Fallout Light. But I hope a sequel gives Bethesda some big competition. Okay. So here's what I had to say in response to that. And I had to let my bro Nethals know this is not a Fallout experience. It's a mix pretty much of Fallout aesthetics and character building, which can mind screw you, and I'll get into that in a little bit, Borderlands gameplay, and Mass Effect team-based approach and dialogue decisions. Fallout's heavy in journey and exploration, and I couldn't fit it in here. It is a lot slower paced in its gameplay. Different experiences that should coexist. Okay. Now, And I did see my homie Heath Stevens blasphemous comment. Big up to Heath Stevens. He said Bethesda is no competition except for delusional fanboys that make excuses for them like MM2K with Fallout 76. But back to the case in hand. This is not a Fallout experience. Now, I'm going to get into all this stuff, okay? And here's why I just want to show you guys something, right? In addition to that, let's go through all the Fallouts post the isometric phase. Let's go over the Metacritics. Let's talk about this a little bit. First and foremost, on your screen, you see the Metacritic for Fallout 3. The de facto way of playing it was on the Xbox 360. Oh, excuse me. So, and that's why I'm pulling up the score here. It's a 93. Okay. For those of you that care about the mainstream consensus, I'm letting you know that the mainstream consensus of Fallout 3 was this is a must play. Okay. Let's go next to Fallout New Vegas, which again was the de facto way to play, and it was on the Xbox 360. The meta score was 84. Now this was Obsidian's version of the Fallout series. And like your boy MM2K was telling you, Obsidian's take on Fallout at launch was not well received, even in the mainstream. It was buggy. People felt that it was convoluted. They felt that the different factions didn't make sense. And gamers felt the same way too. So it got an 84. That was the Metacritic. Okay. Now, let's go out to Bethesda Softworks, the people that made Fallout 3. Let's go to their next iteration. Their next iteration was an 88. Not quite a 93, but definitely not an 84, right? So, here's what I want to say to everybody, right? I want to say that these comparisons to the Outer Worlds versus the Fallout universe, and I'm talking about outside of 76, these comparisons to the Fallout universe, they're not the same. And y'all can't, and I get it. We're going to talk about why 76 is instrumental in all this blurring of the lines. But you can't include Fallout 76 because I get that Fallout 76 is the latest iteration of something within the Fallout universe, but it is not a Fallout game in the sequel sense. It's not a core Fallout game. It's a spin-off. Like how Fallout Shelter is a spin-off. Fallout 76 is a spin-off from the Fallout game, from the Fallout universe. Todd Howard told you that on stage. This is something different. This is not a sequel to Fallout. So to compare Outer Worlds, which is now Obsidian's mainstream core game, this first Outer Worlds, it's their IP, which is now it's Xbox's IP, and it's going to be their game. And this is the core. This is a core iteration of that new franchise. You have to compare the experience to the core franchise of Fallout, which is again to the mainstream. Fallout got an 88. Fallout 3 got a 93. And again, Obsidian's taking the Fallout world even, got an 84. Where is Outer Worlds at? Outer Worlds is at an 86 on PlayStation. And I'm being fair, I'm going to the highest place. And it's fair to say that most people are playing this on PlayStation. So it's at an 86. Okay? So keep that in mind when we go into this whole motif that the super staunch, hardcore Fallout person preferred Obsidian's take on the Fallout universe post isometric. Okay, because here's the real deal. As someone that's played every single Fallout, the only one I didn't play at launch was one. My homie Nature Boy introduced me to Fallout. I played it, loved it. That's why I'm into games like Wasteland. I love this type of games because of Fallout. Then Fallout 2 came out and I got that at launch. When Fallout 3 came out, I was like, holy crap. This is a new take of that universe and I like this. It's huge open world and I like this and I love it. The super staunch Fallout people, they run through Fallout within the first 2 years. They may stay on and continue to play on PC if there's mods. But in general, we move on. Because we done ran through the game like a $2 prostitute. Now, with that being said, Fallout New Vegas did, after its first initial year or two of roughness, of getting hammered, Obsidian worked on it, mods came out for it, that made it a very worthwhile Fallout experience due to the enhancements that were provided. It done so to the point to where the mainstream Fallout gamer, the person that wasn't there at launch, that is not privy to all this hate that Fallout New Vegas got, says, damn, this Fallout experience is better than 3. It's even better than 4. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I haven't touched Fallout New Vegas since all these new iterations have come. It could be, but I'm letting you know that the super hardcore staunch Fallout person that got the game in their heads day one did not feel that way about Fallout New Vegas. See, here's the problem with mainstream information being when the mainstream disseminates information. When they start disseminating information, they disseminate so much of it and they make it so heavy because there's so many of them, it clouds and it dilutes the actual ambiance of what actually happened. Point in hand, Elder Scrolls Online. Now, most of you that are listening to this, y'all were around when Elder Scrolls Online, y'all were of age, y'all were deep into gaming when Elder Scrolls Online launched. We all know that Elder Scrolls Online was dog shit. And that's coming from me as well. I was an alpha tester of Elder Scrolls Online. I had somebody that worked there, that had some connections, and I was braggadocious about that shit, right? And I said, "Oh, this is dog shit." But it was a Bethesda experience, so it kept me in there, but it was bad. One of the worst things about Elder Scrolls Online is that the biggest thing in those Bethesda Softworks Todd Howard type of games is looting and journeying. That's at the core of their games. I get it, Fallout New Vegas, dialogue became heavy and rich, and some of these social aspects became heavy and rich, like having a companion and shit like that, and doing all this lore. But for those that immediately fell in love with Fallout post the isometric phase, the ones that came and flocked on because of Fallout 3, all that stuff was superficial to them, including me. I didn't care about the companion. I didn't care about the super deep dialogue trees. The core Fallout 3 experiences would grab me, and I just wanted to branch off of that. Now, with that being said, the reason why that I'm bringing that up is that what people are not understanding about everything that's going on here is that, again, the Fallout New Vegas experience was critical to people enjoying the Fallout game post all of the issues. Again, first 2 years, Obsidian had to come out and apologize We're so sorry that this is so bad. And what y'all forget is that, again, I know I sound like a broken record. I just want to make sure this is cemented. That when mainstream media drowns you with news, it kind of overwrites everything. Now back to my Elder Scrolls example. Alpha tester, I love the games, but Bethesda software games are all about journeying and looting. And the biggest problem with Elder Scrolls Online is that at launch, you couldn't do the majority of the looting and journeying, which was in caves, unless you had a squad. Now again, the majority of the majority of Elder Scrolls people, right? And I apologize if y'all hear noise next door. It's distracting to me too, I'm sorry. They're building a house. The majority of Bethesda software gamers, when they play these games, they play them because they like to do looting and journeying. And Elder Scrolls Online capped you off from that. You had to have a party in order to go in the caves. If you didn't go in the caves, you couldn't get any good loot. So that made it trash from the beginning. And the ESO launch was 50 times more horrible than anything Fallout 76 has done to y'all, as far as touching y'all and taking advantage of y'all emotionally. ESO, and again, I'm not just a Fallout fan, I'm a Bethesda Softworks aficionado. I love those style of games, the looting, the journeying, and all that other stuff. But again, ESO was trash at launch. Okay. Now, so looting and journeying is a key element of those games, and Elder Scrolls Online failed at that. Now, why am I bringing that up? Because when you look at the reception that Elder Scrolls is getting now, Elder Scrolls Online is fantastic. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. Elder Scrolls Online is the best goddamn game out there. Oh, it's wonderful. And that mainstream reception that Elder Scrolls Online is getting right now is going to cloud 5 years from now. It is going to cloud the information on the internet that is from when we knew that it had the bad launch. Just like how all of the reception at Fallout New Vegas is clouding all of the bad reception that it got at launch. Again, the reason why I brought all that up is to understand where I'm coming from. Just because you see all this good information about Fallout New Vegas, do not be confused. Once Fallout New Vegas became the darling of the mainstream, which it took a couple of years for that to happen, all this positive mainstream news started hitting the internet, and now it's buried the negative reception that it got at launch. The same 5 years from now, all of the negative reception that ESO got at launch is going to be buried by the positive reception. It's already being buried now for the simple fact that y'all are bitching and complaining about Fallout First, but ESO Plus gives you a lot less than what Fallout Plus is offering for more money. And it's not about the value of the game. Y'all were making an argument that this is money grubbing. This ain't right. This ain't fair. This is a stretch. It ain't got nothing to do with the game. It's got something to do with the practice. But I don't see y'all saying nothing about ESO Plus. ESO Plus is charging you more for less. You don't make any sense making those arguments. Again, you're basing everything solely off of your hate of Fallout 76, and it's clouding your judgment on everything. You're out here saying, and it ain't on my bro Nethos, it's everybody. This is the Fallout experience that y'all been waiting for. No, it's not. It only mimics Fallout in aesthetics and character building. The gameplay, which is super fast-paced and chaotic. It's like Borderlands. It's team-based. It has deep dialogue and stuff that favors Mass Effect. So 2/3 of the game, the majority of the game, mimics other franchises. This is not a Fallout contender. In no way, shape, or form, and that's okay. Don't let your disdain for one spin-off game cloud the facts that you spread. That's why I'm excited. I'm excited because you're not giving accurate depictions. So if I'm a Fallout fan, or I like the Fallout type of game, and I'm like, well, you know what? Because of all the media hysteria, I'm not going to touch 76. I'm going to wait until Fallout 5 comes out, and then Outer Worlds drop. And you're like, oh, hold on. This looks like Fallout. And you're going to go check out the information given here. And then you hear, oh, this is a Fallout contender. It's like Fallout. And it ain't Nethos. You got Kotaku. You got a bunch of people saying this dumb shit. But I'll give credit to IGN. Listen to the last podcast Unlocked. They accurately described the game. I gotta give credit where credit is due, even though he can act like an ass. I'll give credit to Jez Gordon. Jez Gordon said, this is more like a shooter. IGN said, this ain't no Fallout contender. It's more like Mass Effect and a shooter. And MM2K is telling you, despite the disdain for Fallout 76, ignore that jazz. I don't even care that much about Fallout 76. It's a 7, maybe a 7.5 in console. I give it an 8 on PC. It's not even taking up the majority of my gameplay time. I just was battling the mistruths and the lies because I'm thinking about the consumer that ain't into some of the superficial stuff that wants the cold hard facts. That's all. And the cold hard facts is this is not a Fallout contender. Take 76 out of the picture. So let's talk about it. Here's my impressions of the game, but while I'm giving you my impressions, I'm accurately detailing what's what in the game. As far as it comparing to Fallout and why I said all that. Here's the Fallout type of stuff that Outer Worlds does well. The aesthetics are similar to Fallout, and they are a lot more better looking. There's no doubt about that. The water, the texture, everything about this game, as far as its topical look, is attempting to mimic Fallout, and it looks better doing it. All right? As far as the topical aesthetic, that's just that. Also, the character building system is trying to mimic classic Fallout with, your persuasiveness and your lockpicking and all that shit. But it's deeper. And I like that it's multi-level. So that part of it that is attempting to mimic Fallout is better than your traditional Fallout. Outside of 76. 76 is not a traditional Fallout. But that's it. As far as Fallout comparisons, or when it tries to attempt at Fallout, when it does try to attempt to be a Fallout, here's where it falls short. It pales in comparison to the loot aspect, which is I spent a whole bunch of time babbling about this at the beginning of this video, which is key to the Fallout experience. The loot aspect of grabbing up all the cans and selling them and shit so you could get a whole bunch of money so you can buy crazy shit. The fact that everything in the game pretty much you can pick up that ain't glued to the wall, that ain't glued to the floor. The fact that you can do that in a Fallout game and again, either mix it into some type of concoction or sell it. That you can stockpile all the tin cans and the plates and the cups and the ladles and the toy trucks and or make shit out of them or sell them. That aspect is not in this game. That's a fundamental aspect of Fallout. You can go to a building in Fallout. One building. I've spent days in buildings, looting the building, picking up all the cans and shit like that. Fallout is that type of game. It's that type of deep in the looting aspect. This is nowhere near that. Also, it is dwarfed heavily in exploration. When I play this game in exploration aspect, I say, I think Danny DeVito versus Arnold Schwarzenegger in Twins. So, this is not a Fallout Light, like my homie Neethles tried to say, or this is not nowhere near like Fallout, where Kotaku tried to say idiotically because they're mad at Bethesda because Bethesda blacklisted them and they fit into the outrage culture about Fallout 76. All right. Also, the dialogue that is in this game, it's not charming, it's cheesy, and it's often cringy. Now, when you're in Fallout, there's more dialogue in Outer Worlds than there is in Fallout. And it's a lot deeper in Outer Worlds. But the dialogue in Fallout, outside of New Vegas, is meant to be atmospheric. It's to set the dystopian post-apocalyptic. It's to set the scene for the atmospherics of the game. And particularly in 3 and in 4, there are decisions, long-term ramifications that are in some of your dialogue trees, but not so much so. Like in, like in Outer Worlds, and more notably, Fallout New Vegas, which again was another Obsidian built game. Obsidian in these style of games love having super deep dialogue trees that have long-term ramifications. That's what they love to build. But Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4 and Fallout 3 do not do that. Okay? And those are the numbered Fallouts. So I would still consider Fallout New Vegas a sequel, even though I think at launch Bethesda tried to deny it and just said it was a spinoff because they just let Obsidian do their version of Fallout. But Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, the numbered sequels within the Fallout franchise, aren't this heavy in dialogue. Because their dialogue is just meant to set the dystopian feel and the atmospherics of the game. That being said, at least when you do engage in conversation, you either chuckle or you be like, damn, that's fucked up. Excuse my French. Damn. That's some fucked up shit. Oh man, that's crazy. Here, like when you were in the spaceship and you're talking to the AI in the spaceship, that was some fucking corny shit. And talking to the people that I've talked to so far in the game, like the part where I had to get on the spaceship, that was too cheesy and so stupid. And then the dialogue options that allow you to do certain things, it was so cringy. Like, this is too cheesy. So the dialogue in Outer Worlds, even though has a purpose, in your interaction with it, it's not pleasing. You know what I'm saying? It's poor, or better yet, it's poorly written. Now the outcomes might be fly. Oh shit, but the way that it's poorly written and it doesn't have the cinematic effect that any dialogue in the Fallout core franchise game has, period. Now, and lastly, where it falls short on trying to be Fallout, when it tries to be Fallout, is, well, and this ain't fair. Now, this is a comparison that people are putting on the game. I don't think the game is trying to be Fallout in this instance. Let me better phrase that and say where people think it's trying to be like Fallout. The battle system in Outer Worlds is way too chaotic and too fast and too sporadic to give you any type of Fallout feel. Like, The VATS system doesn't even feel like it's thrown in there. It's less like VATS because VATS is tactical. VATS pauses time, and VATS allows you to attack. It allows you to attack certain parts strategically, like in a traditional RPG. In a traditional RPG, time is frozen, and it gives you time to breathe. The action in this game does not give you time to breathe. It's more fast-paced, and it's more like Borderlands. And the VAT system in here, it's less like VATS. It's more like Max Payne, just slowing down time. Those two totally different approaches in the gameplay, which is the bulk of the game, are totally separate, and they have there's no comparison that can be made to put those two in the same lane. In a traditional RPG sense, traditional Fallout games allow you to pause time, focus on body parts using VATS. You don't do that in this game. It slows down time, which is more like an action game like Max Payne. Okay? I think even Borderlands, one of the characters has a perk where you can slow down time. It feels more like that, period. So, with that being said, it's not being anywhere near a Fallout replacement. And that's okay. That's okay. It doesn't have to be a Fallout replacement. It's a cool mash of Fallout aesthetics, character building, B, Borderlands type gameplay, C, Mass Effect team-based approach and deep dialogue decisions, like I said in my tweet, responding to Nethos. Here's the thing though. Here's what I had to write in response to my bro Nethos, right? I said, I love my bro, but this mindset's the problem. Outside of Fallout 76, the traditional Fallout experience is slow-paced, full of journey exploration, loot, and is massive as far as the landscape is concerned. Let this, which is Outer Worlds, live in its own lane. So gamers have what? Variety! Every game needs not to be a gumbo mash and slight difference of each other. I am so sick. And again, this is not, Nethos didn't create this mindset. That's my bro. This is an elitist mainstream Kotaku, whoever the hell you want to call it, mindset. That every game has to be conveyor belt and cookie cutter in one particular type of way, and just give you different aesthetics in that type of way in order to be good. I don't want everything to be the same 90% of the way, but just have a little different iteration of this and different iteration of that and try to compete in the same space. Be totally different and unique. What I like that even though I said some negative things, there are good things about Outer Worlds. I'm not super deep in the game, but what I appreciate that the Outer Worlds is doing is that it's not just trying to be Fallout. It's taking elements from your favorite franchises, which are Fallout, Borderlands, and Mass Effect, and it's putting it all together. And I think that's cool. And it doesn't need to be Fallout in entirety. Let it be what it's going to be. Stop trying to create this gumbo. Everything has to be like this game. I really like this game, so everything else that comes from it has to be like that with different aesthetics. Stop that. You are stifling the growth of gaming when you do that dumb shit. As someone that has been gaming for 30 plus years, longer than a lot of you basement dwelling, nut hugging virgins that have been bored, Y'all are fucking this whole thing up, wanting everything to be carbon copies of each other. And it's sickening. Stop. Gamers deserve variety. They deserve variety. Let Outer Worlds shine and be its own thing. Let Bethesda work on Fallout, come up with a better engine, smoother gameplay, work out all the bugs at launch, and let them expand on the Fallout experience. I don't want this Borderlands type of shooting style mixed into Fallout. No. And two, that's what I'm saying. Gamers need variety. Like me, if to be transparent, me and my bro Nethals, we go back and forth behind the scenes about which Fallout we think is better, right? His is New Vegas, mine's is Fallout 3, right? Now, Nethals love the whole dialogue trees and this and that and all that shit about that. I didn't like that. When I play a Fallout game, I want to journey to as many places as I can where the campaign is an afterthought. I only go to the campaign after I've completely explored all these areas and I can't go no further. Okay, now it's time to go back to the campaign so I can cross this bridge or I can go in this sewer. Okay, good. So we were arguing back and forth yesterday and he's like, yo, MM2K, Fallout 3 ain't nothing but sewers. And I'm like, bro, you're crazy because I hardly remember sewers. And we're going back. And here's the thing. When Nethals play Fallout, he primarily focuses on the campaign. When MM2K plays Fallout, I primarily focus on the world. Two totally different gameplay. We can have the same game in front of us and come out with two totally different experiences. His experience was mostly sewers because he mostly focused on the campaign. My experience was mostly outside looking for like the Abraham Lincoln. I remember that because that was one of my toughest experiences ever. Fighting death claws, avoiding them, all that other stuff. And finding an Abraham Lincoln in Fallout, that was like one of my most cherished experiences. Most of my time playing Fallout, I want to say 3/4 of it was outside. Yes, did I have to go through the sewer to progress, get to the Brotherhood of Steel, go through the tunnels that are in certain, yes. But the game is so much bigger than that. And that's my point, is that Fallout is so big and so expansive in what it offers in its core games that Obsidian that's not their goal. Their goal is this fast-paced shooting, Fallout-like aesthetics and character building, and this team-based thing. Let them tweak that. Let this be a different franchise. I'm tired of games trying to be like each other. We need variety. This is technology. Stop stifling technology, y'all. Y'all don't understand, with the advent of the internet and all this information we have in front of us, we're using it to become HalfMinded. Stop it. All right? So, again, and why are people saying this? Simply because they are mad that Fallout 76 doesn't have the traditional dialogue trees and it doesn't have the dialogue-driven missions. That's what it comes down, and they're mad. They're mad because of that. They've gone crazy. They've gone rabid. Haven't touched the game, but now they're experts on everything that it has to offer. Fallout First is irreputable. It's disgusting. Meanwhile, they didn't even realize, because they're talking about shit they don't even play. They don't even realize that ESO Plus been out there for years. That and you guys' minds, and using your own logic, has been beating people with a cash register for years. It makes you pay more and it offers less. Then World of Warcraft. You got to pay what, $15 just to play the goddamn game. You just playing the game. You got to pay $15 and then pay $40 for each expansion pack. Like, shut the fuck up. You make no sense. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's what it boils down to. So for those of you that don't want to be part of the idiot herd, that are looking for information, don't get caught with this misinformed stuff, these misinformed comparisons, due to the mainstream's anger towards one Fallout spin-off game. Be informed. Outer Worlds is doing something totally different. That thing does include some aspects of Fallout, but it is not a Fallout game. It's its own game in its own right. And let's appreciate it for that and hope they build on that. And let's go to Bethesda, because I'm going to be honest with you. Fallout 4, hated it. I mean, I love the open world journey of it. I got damn well 50 hours in that game in totality across 2 platforms, but I hated it. Why? Because all it was Fallout 3, slightly prettier graphics with Minecraft elements. And then they sprinkled in a little bit of them convoluted dialogue trees that were in New Vegas, where you end up trying to do one thing but something else happens. I don't think that belongs in an RPG. RPGs, if you're looking for X result, you do Y, you get Y. You just gotta be able to handle the challenge of the enemies or go through the area or whatever, but you should get X result. You know what I'm saying? So Fallout 4 had a lot of convoluted aspects, and I didn't even finish it. I don't like Fallout 4. So Bethesda does need to redo its engine, reinvigorate the series, add on some new things while keeping what made Fallout 3 and that whole open world expansion and survival loot aspects, while keeping that great. Okay. So we can do both. Both requests can exist in the same vacuum. We can like and play Outer Worlds and have them expand on that world, and then we can go to Bethesda and say, look, you got to make some serious quality of life enhancements to Fallout and Elder Scrolls at that. With that being said, that's it from your boy. Let me go to my chat. My homie Shane. Hey, dude, you on Mars. I don't know what time zone you are to go to sleep. Motherfucker, it's 12:30 in the afternoon there. He's Stevens. Fallout 4 is about the dialogue trees. To you, it's about the dialogue trees. But that's the wonder and the beauty of Fallout. You can play it any way you want. You can focus on dialogue. You can journey the open survival world. Fallout is that expansive, and I get it. With Fallout 76, it cut out elements that to me were superficial, but big ups to my homie Manhattan. Let me say this, and then I'm going, wrap this up, go through the chat and close shop. Big ups to the homie Manhattan. Manhattan had a talk with your boy. Manhattan said, look, man, I'm fearful for you, MM2K. I'm scared. I was like, why are you scared, bro? He said, bro, you out here arguing people over Fallout 76? He said, you sure this is the sword you want to die on? I said, yes, this is the sword. And it wasn't, look, I gave the game a 7.5. In my last video that everybody was so upset about, I had Black Bond's corny ass coming out the woodwork in all my comments. You know what I'm saying? I was talking about the lies and the mistruths. And I said, I get where y'all coming from. Y'all are emotionally tied to this. We're going to beat the big bad corporation. And Bethesda has a swagger on itself, is that we're unapologetic. We don't give a fuck about what you think. And they were the last Eiffel Tower to knock down, and y'all knocked them down. essentially, as far as the mainstream. Here's what Bethesda said in response. Okay, we don't have the mainstream appeal, but that's not what made us. What made us was our die-hard PC base. We'll just go back to them motherfuckers, give them shit that they want, say fuck y'all. So what did they do? They said, okay, you want to get in the Fallout 76 experience? We'll drop it down to $25. And they went to the PC base and just solely started engaging with them to not fully slight the console base. All of these initiatives that they added on PC, they at the same time they simultaneously added to console. They don't care about you the console people paying $76. Their goal was to create a game. See, here's what y'all don't understand. The hardcore Fallout fan base, the people that play the Fallout games within the first 2 years, primarily at launch, that really don't give a shit that Fallout New Vegas got all these mods and all this other stuff, that they want to play that Fallout experience at the beginning. They are very staunch. They want a Fallout game every 3 years. And I'm not part of that group that wants a Fallout game every 3 years. I don't need one every 3 years, but I follow that group. I follow them extensively because I've been following that group since I've been on different chat boards and news groups. Remember those? Those that are old enough that remember news groups. I've been on news groups and chat boards and Merc and all this shit following the Fallout crowd since the late 90s, early 2000s. Before torrents, it was these things called news groups, but y'all don't know. I ain't gonna even educate y'all with that. I've been following them, following all the talking shit there on Merc, MIRC. I ain't gonna say nothing. That's all I'm gonna say. I ain't trying to become no target. Yeah, but your boy was on Merc too, chatting it up with the staunchest players, and they wanted that game every 2 to 3 years. And Bethesda said, well, fuck it. If y'all want it every 2 to 3 years and y'all willing to accept that it's buggy, here you go. And that's how it rolled. Then comes Fallout New Vegas. Starts off at launch, shitty, but it got fixed over time and it had elements that started to draw some attention. So Bethesda said, oh, hold on. We're expanding our base. We're starting to get a lot of mainstream people interested in this shit. Let's beat them in the head with a cash register. Let's make Fallout 4. And all Fallout 4 is what they feel was the most mainstream friendly of Fallout 3, mixed in with what they felt was the most mainstream friendly of Fallout 4, mixed in with Minecraft elements, building this and building that. And it worked. It was a commercial success, a commercial darling, a mainstream darling. So because of that, now they got a grip on the mainstream. And Bethesda's like, oh shit, how far can we go with this? So they say, look, we got to build a new engine. We got this Star Point game or whatever, Starlink, whatever the fuck it's called. We got people excited, jumping out of their shoes and socks. All we're showing is a planet with a light going up in the air and Star Point. And everybody's getting excited. We got these motherfuckers. But we still got these diehards that want this Fallout game every 3 years. What are we going to do? And they say, you know that that co-op version that we were going to add to 4? Let's not do it. Let's push it to the side and make a full-fledged $60 game out of it. And that's how you got Fallout 76. And Fallout 76 was supposed to keep you guys entertained. Mainly the hardcore that would give them a lot of trouble. Keep those guys entertained, and they figure, like the rest of the games as a service games, particularly their own Elder Scrolls game, that y'all would bicker about it a little bit if it didn't have the dialogue trees. But over time, they would gradually add shit and y'all would get over it, like y'all did with Elder Scrolls Online. All this shit was planned for. They knew they were going to get hit, but what they didn't anticipate is that You are now in the era of the outrage culture. And in the era of the outrage culture, headed by frauds like Young Ye, who don't play no damn games, but talks about every single one of them. He's more in the Reddit lines than he is playing the goddamn game. I don't see no gameplay from homie. None. Dreamcast guy, that's another flamer. That he's been busted on multiple levels. I'm sorry. I don't know who apologizes more. This motherfucker or Boogie. And Angry Joe. But I'll give it, hey look, I gotta give props to Angry Joe. I only agree with 2% of what Angry Joe says, but he plays games. And he's entertaining. So I like Angry Joe. He be on that shit too, but I like Angry Joe. Because Angry Joe plays games. And he's entertaining. So, I'm cool with Angry Joe. And everybody ain't got to agree with him, M2K, ain't about that. But just don't be a fraud with your shit. He plays these games. He feels a certain type of way. Angry Joe got a constant case of hemorrhoids. It is what it is. But I respect Angry Joe. All these other motherfuckers, no. They can fly a kite into a thunderstorm. I don't give two shits about them because they're frauds. Now, with that being said, Bethesda didn't take into account that now they're dealing with the outrage culture. And Bethesda was the last Eiffel Tower standing. Don't forget, months before Fallout 76 release, they pulled that bullshit, that okie doke where they were like, PlayStation ain't really doing crossplay. And they really came out against PlayStation not doing crossplay. PlayStation announces that they're going to do crossplay. So people go look back at Bethesda and they say, hey, Bethesda, so Fallout 76 is going to have crossplay? And they're like, no. That was the first chink in the armor. And rightfully so. So when Fallout 76 comes out, it's getting all this heavy advertisement. It's getting all this heavy mentioning from Bethesda. And it's slapped with a $60 price point. Like it's a game that's made for the mainstream. When the mainstream got a hold of it and they found out that some darlings of the Fallout experience weren't included, they hammered the game. But they went beyond just hammering the game and they tried to label Fallout 76 the worst game in the generation. Now, I will say this. You can think what you want about Fallout 76. It doesn't matter to your boy. All I have to say to that is that anybody that believes that Fallout 76 is worse than Crackdown 3 is a crack baby and came out of the womb being given paint thinner instead of being breastfed. Period. I've played both games. I originally loved the Crackdown series. I'm a Fallout fan. Is Fallout the extravagant spinoff? No, it's 7.5. I like it on PC, 8, maybe 8.5. You know what I'm saying? Smooth game. I love it. I streamed it the other day on Twitch. Go check it out. So you can, and I debunked all the lies that you got to pay now in order to play the base game. That's a lie. One new mode out of 3 has been locked away behind the new subscription service, but that's here nor there. So, because of that, Bethesda got stomped on. All right, y'all have already stomped them out. They can't get no lower than where they've been. They said, okay, let's go on to next phase. Next phase is the paid for servers. You know what I'm saying? And people knew that the paid for servers were coming. The mainstream gaming public didn't know because y'all don't play the game. Hardcore gamers knew about this for a very long time. And as a hardcore gamer of Fallout 76, I can tell you that nobody expected for there to be endless, or nobody in their right mind expected for there to be endless cache boxes for free. If you play the Fallout game, with all the tin cans and the toaster ovens and all, you would know that that would be absurd. And that's what they meant when they said it was impossible to give this to you. They just weren't being transparent. It was possible to give it to you for free. To give everybody endless reign? That would destroy the servers of the game. That's why you don't have NPCs, because they haven't figured out how to put the NPCs at the Fallout level within the game. People have went behind the fourth wall and went into the test regions of the game and discovered that they are building the NPCs, but they haven't discovered yet how to implement them within the game without destroying their servers, without crashing the game. So there's no way in hell that they can allow you to infinitely store all these trinkets without destroying the game. That's why, so they put it behind a paywall where everybody don't have access to it. That's common sense. But again, the mainstream people are just looking for ways to fan the flames. Fine, whatever. So the reason why I brought all that up is that my homie Manhattan, LaButter, very smart guy. I wish he would come up with a goddamn channel. We done told him he need to come out with a channel. He said, Moss, you're not taking all that into consideration. I know that you just like the journeying. I know that you just like the looting. I know that you just like the enemy interaction. But you got these new Fallout people of the mainstream that love the dialogue, that love the story and all the other shit. They just got help on the with Fallout 4, and now you charging $60 like you basically got the standard Fallout experience, but it's just co-op. They got robbed. And I said, you know what, Butter? That's fair. That's fair. I can't be mad at you about that. So that is on Bethesda. But now we're way past that. We're way past that. The people that hated the game hate the game. They've stomped it into oblivion. They even went over the top and said it's worse than Crackdown 3. Now we're there. Now this game is solely for the staunch Fallout enthusiasts. If you're not a staunch Fallout enthusiast, you have no business legitimately talking about this game ad nauseum. Because you're not talking about Warhammer, not Warhammer, World of Warcraft ad nauseum. You're not talking about ESO ad nauseum. Talking about Fallout and spreading mistruths and misinformation ad nauseum is stupid. And what's even more dumb is because you want something to hold on to in your attempts to follow the idiot herd and be part of the outrage culture and finally belong to something in your miserable virgin-filled lives, basement-dwelling lives. You are now harming the information being disseminated to the unaware gamer. The unaware gamer that first fell for your jargon for Fallout 76, which is fine, whatever. It's just one game. Who is looking for a traditional Fallout experience now thinks that they should get Outer Worlds. More likely than not, they don't have an Xbox. They don't have a PC that they game on. So they're going to buy it at retail on a PlayStation. And when they buy it on retail on the PlayStation, looking for a traditional Fallout experience, and they pay full retail for, guess what? They're going to be disappointed. Because it's not Fallout. It looks like Fallout. You spec your character out like Fallout. But at the heart of this game, it's Borderlands and Mass Effect, period. That's my point. Not to be on some crusade for Fallout 76. I want a crusade for information, for facts. I'm not thinking about y'all that are looking for something to belong to because you're miserable. I am fighting for the unaware gamer that say, hey, I do want a newfound Fallout experience. And they go and play this, and they find out that it looks like Fallout, but that's it. That's it. So, that's why I'm doing this. All right. Cold Blood Sensei said, next week. I get it. Looks awesome. You should. I am playing Outer Worlds. Sounds like it to me. Cold Blood Sensei. No NPCs in Fallout was instant doom for the game. End of story. Angry Joe, your white daddy. I like Angry Joe, man. It's my homie. I don't agree with him, but see, that's what I'm saying. It's not all about me finding people that agree with me. He trashed Fallout 76 too, but at least he plays games. I can respect his opinion. My take on Fallout, on Outer Worlds, Sean asked. My take on, if you missed it, it's okay. It's okay. I'm having a difficult time trying to separate the facts. See, here's what I think Obsidian did wrong. I think they did wrong in making this look like Fallout because it's fucking with me mentally. Like, it looks like Fallout, but it plays nothing like Fallout. Like, their version of VATS is a gimmick. It doesn't mean anything. And it's fast paced and it's very difficult. Like, I remember, and you can check out my gameplay on twitch.tv/MightyMost2000 or go to HNDC.Live. I'm playing these games that I'm talking about. I'm not like the idiot herd. I remember that on a low level enemy, I slowed down time. I jumped in the air in front of this motherfucker. I shot him in the head with a shotgun, point blank. He didn't die. Only a third of his energy went down. So I said, oh, and again, this is a low level enemy towards the beginning of the game. It was a critical hit though. He fell down. Point blank, I shot him 3 more times and he didn't die. He got up and shot me and killed me. That would never happen in a Fallout game because a Fallout game is strategic. If you're directly on and you hit somebody point blank with a shotgun in the head and they're not a super mutant, they're just a regular enemy, they die. It's strategic like that, but you got to get yourself in an angle in order to do so. In order to do so may be difficult, but once you do it, all right, you have strategically and tactically got an advantage on the enemy, and you will, and as long as you're pinpoint, you're accurate, you will come out on top of that. You can either do it manually or you can do it through VATS. And if you're doing it through VATS, your likelihood of success is dependent on an algorithm behind the scenes, your gear, all the other stuff. More like an RPG. Outer Worlds is not like that. It's Borderlands with the slowdown mechanic, basically. So that's my opinion on it. Pete Stevens said Fallout 4 is about the dialogue trees. I think I talked about that. He said, MM2K, you need to let this shit go. People are doing it to you because it bothers you. No, again, Heath, this is what you're not understanding. And to Heath's point, let me show you guys a tweet. I'm glad Heath brought that up. Big up to my homie Heath. All right. So let me show y'all this tweet. All right. I said, new rule. Don't at me or hop in my thread about a release game unless you played it. I don't go on and on about a game post-launch unless I have. Too many sorry-ass frauds out here dick-riding another man's emotions. Play some fucking games, you basement-dwelling virgins. Peace. Tears. I meant that. And I posted that yesterday. And if you notice, I haven't talked to anybody on Twitter about it. And I am no longer responding to anybody on Twitter about a game they haven't played. Now, I responded to my homie Neethles because Neethles is talking about the Fallout experience and the Outer World experience that he has played. He's not frauding here. So I responded to that. And I thought that his sentiment was echoing a sentiment that was relaying misinformation. And I don't think he's doing it on purpose. I just don't think that he understands the agenda-driven result that this is going to portray. Like, He may have inadvertently fallen into this hyperbole. This is nothing like Fallout. It looks like Fallout, and for full clarity, my bro Nethos, when he plays a Fallout game, he don't apparently care for the side missions, and that's fine. You play however you like, but Fallout is about wide open landscapes, serious looting, and serious expansive side missions that can take you days to finish. Outer Worlds ain't aiming for that, and that is okay. But if that type of stuff that I just mentioned about Fallout is what you're looking for, do not go to Outer Worlds looking for that. Go to Outer Worlds looking for a trifecta of some of your favorite franchises. Fallout aesthetics and character building, Borderlands type of gunplay, Mass Effect team-based strategy, and dialogue trees. That's what you're getting with Outer Lands. So that's why I responded there. And again, Heath, and to anybody else that's listening, I'm always going to respond when there's falsehoods being put out there in legitimate cases. My bro Nethos legitimately plays Fallout. He has time in Fallout, and he's legitimately played Outer Worlds. And he gave a sentiment out there that I didn't necessarily agree with, but I felt like that it was important for me to give an extensive take like this, because this is not just Nethos. This is Kotaku. There's a bunch of people out there telling people, hey, if you were mad at Fallout 76, come to Outer Worlds. You're going to get that Fallout experience. And that's not true. Not true. So it's bigger than Fallout 76 to me, and that's why I'm bringing this up. So those are two totally different things, Heath. The people trying to troll me about 76 and people trying to make false equivalents between Outer Worlds and 76. All right. Whoa, shoot. Oh, okay. Most Fallout fanboys are liking Outer Worlds. Based upon what? Where's your proof, CD Mac 5? And you know what? No. Let me correct my comment. I'm a Fallout fanboy, right? And so far, I like Outer Worlds. So in that regards, yeah, that could be true. But I also like NBA 2K. I also like what Call of Duty as you know what I'm saying? Just because someone likes this game too doesn't mean that they like it over Fallout. And if you're looking for a traditional Fallout experience, you're not going to like this over that traditional Fallout experience. If you're a Fallout fanboy, if you're a traditional Fallout fanboy, you're not going to like Outer Worlds as an acceptable entry within that Fallout timeline. This is completely different. That's like saying people that like Madden now like Madden and they no longer like NBA 2K because they're both sports games. That's the dumbest shit that I've ever heard. Outer Worlds is a completely different take on an action RPG than Fallout is, and should not be compared. It's to be respected in its own lane. And to your point, CD Mac 5, I am a Fallout fanboy, a traditional Fallout fanboy. Excuse me, who likes the traditional Fallout experience. And yes, I like Outer Worlds too. I have my concessions about some things, but overall, I enjoyed my experience with the game when I played it. Let me see. My MM2K, my mama said you miss your calling as a Southern Baptist preacher. Another pew pew game from Top Dog. Big up to Snow Bunny and Top Dog. You see here. If it was BS features, oh, Heath Stevens. Oh, Heath Stevens. Heath Stevens is heated. Devil Shooter. He says Microsoft has a history of forcing their devs to work on remotely successful franchises for the rest of their lives. They will probably never do anything else. Heath Stevens says ESO is an MMO and open world RPG, different games completely. No. ESO is different in the mass of different players that you can run into. The style of the game, the core style of the game, as far as your interaction with the game, is not different. Okay, let's try this. Heath, because me and you've talked several times on this. Have you played Fallout 76 or Elder Scrolls? That would be like me, because if you haven't, then we can't have this discussion. You're more than likely to share your opinion, but we can't have this discussion. That would be like me, Heath. Say if you saw The Matrix, I didn't. And I tell you, well, so-and-so been telling me that Neo died at the end of the story. And I say, and you say, yeah, he died at the end, but he came back. He kind of died, but he came. No, they said he died. Did you see The Matrix MM2K? No, I didn't, but so-and-so, young Yipper told me. Like, I can't have that discussion with you because I'm not informed out of experience. So, you got to play the games, Heath. They're cheap on retail. You can get it cheap. Get it on, you can probably find Fallout 76 for $5 used somewhere. Just plop it in and play it and you'll see what I'm talking about, man. And CD Mac 5 says it was way too buggy. Are you talking about Fallout 76 or New Vegas? Because New Vegas was buggier at launch than Fallout 76. And the proof is out there. Just Google Obsidian apologizes for Fallout New Vegas. And you'll see the long ass War and Peace entry that they gave, that the people at Obsidian gave for Fallout New Vegas being so catastrophic at launch. And it was. I played it and buggy as hell. Froze my game multiple times. I haven't heard that shit since the NES days. The hell? They would do it like once every other day at first until they put out that patch. That game was buggy as hell. Let me see who else. Rudico Perez, what's up, Mr. Righteous Fish? Cold Blood Sensei said Death Stranding, laugh out loud. Mr. Righteous says, what if people watch gameplay of the game? It's like people talking bad at Death Stranding and never played it, laugh out loud. Well, here's the difference. The game is not available. So all we have are the images of the game and the development cycle of the game. There's nothing wrong with talking about the development cycle of the game and the images that we have present. I clearly say, let me go back to Mr. Righteous Fish. I clearly say in my tweet, don't at me or hop in my thread about a released game. You see that? Let me make it bigger. Yeah, I'm on my shit today. Is that big enough for you? Is that big enough for you, Mr. No, I'm just messing with you, but you catch my drift. A released game. If the game is released and it is accessible to you, then don't talk about it if you haven't played it. That's like, okay, a football game, NFL football game. You got, I don't know, the Chiefs and the Patriots playing each other. There's all the pregame analysis and all the other stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. But once they hit that field and the clock starts, you better watch the game. You better not be sick. Can you imagine if sportscasters talked about the game after it's already been played, but never watched it? Well, yeah, I think Patrick Mahomes did. What did you? Hold on, that didn't even happen. That didn't even happen. What are you talking about? Did you see the game? Well, I ain't got to see the game to know what the game is. I saw a couple of highlights. What? Did you see the final score at least? No. What? That's what's happening here. You get people that don't mix the pre-game talk with the post-game talk. The pre-game talk, the game ain't happened yet. So people are giving their opinions. That's fine. We're talking shit and all that other stuff. That's fine. But post-game, you better have watched the game. If you haven't watched the game, but you got all this analysis of what happened, you're a fraud. I repeat, pre-game launch, we're giving analysis, we're talking opinions. That's fine. But once the game has started and ended, if you've got all this post-game analysis and you haven't watched 5 minutes of the game, you're a fraud. No way around it. Mr. Righteous says people watch NFL and never played any. No. You're trying, brother. You're trying. No. Watching NFL, observing NFL games requires you only to watch it. You're watching the NFL experience. So, because you're watching the NFL experience, that's what you do in order to observe what you're watching. Everybody's talking about what they're watching in the game. The only reasonable way for you to partake in the NFL experience is for you to observe the game, because less than 1,000% of the population on this planet will ever make it into the NFL. So that is not a reasonable expectation that in order for you to be able to talk about the NFL experience, you have to be an NFL player. That's absurd. So the majority of people that partake in the NFL experience, they watch it, right? Gaming is different. Gaming is available to everybody. All you got to do is pick up the game. You can pick up the game for $1 on Game Pass. You can go to Redbox, get it for $3 a game. You can pay $60 for it. You can get it used at $20. It's open to everybody. So if I am a big time YouTube presence, equivalent to a big time sportscaster, and I'm getting paid, people are giving me money for my expert analysis, I better be playing the goddamn game. Just like a sportscaster better be watching the goddamn sports game, or you're a fraud. But nice try though, Mr. Righteous Fish. Y'all tried, man. Y'all tried. I love it. I love it. That's why I love my chat, man. With that being said, man, that's my take on the whole experience. I gotta go because my wife is gonna whoop my ass. I was only supposed to be doing this for half an hour. So that's it. That's your boy's take on everything that's going on between Outer Lands, Fallout New Vegas. I mean, the Fallout the Outer Worlds. God damn, the Outer Worlds and the Fallout core experience. Two totally different. When you look at everything in totality, as far as what did they do when they're trying. Now there are elements of Outer Worlds that are trying to be like Fallout. What do they do right? The aesthetics are right and they look better, admittedly. The character building system is a lot more detailed. Where it falls short, it pales in comparison to the loot aspect, which is big. It is dwarfed heavily in exploration, which is big. The dialogue is not charming, it's cheesy and often cringy. And the battle system is too chaotic and too fast to even put in the... That's the nail in the coffin. That's what kills it from even being compared to Fallout. Not killing it to making it a good game. I'm enjoying the game. If I get a chance to, I'm gonna stream it again today. I like what it offers. It's just not a Fallout experience, and it shouldn't be compared to that. So with that said, I appreciate all of y'all for coming through. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The best chat in the world. I love you all. Y'all make this entertaining, goddamn, and engaging for your boy. I gotta go before my wife whoops my ass. But I will be giving my official impression of the game, I think either Monday or Tuesday after I play some more. So with that, y'all all have a wonderful, wonderful gaming day. Peace.